Hello and welcome to this very cold and wintry Australian Inventors Workshop. I was going to make one video involving ArtCam and the new 6040 CNC router, but the video is going to take a little bit too long, so I'm going to have to break it up into two videos. So if you just want to see the 6040 CNC router just cutting a piece of work, then you'll want the next video, but this video will be using the new ArtCam DualSmith. Okay, so when you open ArtCam DualSmith, now this is ArtCam DualSmith 2012. So you go to new model. Now this is a piece of material. It's 19mm or 3/4 inch, and it's 140 plus a little extra material so I can clamp it down. So this is Tasmanian pine, and in our case it's 140 by 140. Now I've had a lot of people asking me about how do you regain the Z height of the second tool. Now I will be showing you that in the second video. But for now we're going to put the orientation in the middle of the material. So this then is a good representation of finding the Z height of the material when you've already machined the material away. So we set this now midpoint, about 1500 points or DPI, that's about fine. Millimeters, I always work in millimeters. This program you can either work in inches or millimeters, doesn't matter. This can be run on Windows 10 or even, let me see, Windows 7. Windows 7 all the way up to Windows 10. XP will not run this program. So here we go. So this is the opening screen. Over the next 6-12 months, I will be showing you what all these tools, individual tools, do. Essentially these are the drawing tools and vector tools down here, and these are all three-dimensional tooling. This is vector tooling, and well, I'll show you how to manage and manipulate all of those. I have done in previous videos as well. If you're interested in ArtCam, you just search on my YouTube channel and there's quite a few ArtCam videos there. So what we're going to do or concentrate on is a 3D machining using two different cutters. And so first of all we're going to get our subject matter. So you go into the Relief Clip Art library, and we'll just say take this eagle head and just place it into the middle there. And so it's already highlighted, so you can catch hold of one of these red handles and left click and pull it out. Left click, pull it out. Now I'll show you something. Now you'll notice here, these are the actual measurements of this three-dimensional object. Now the lock is on. Now if I took the lock off, and I don't actually want to do that at the moment, you could pull one side up and the other would stay, and only sort of two dimensions would change, and it would distort the 3D model. So I would suggest to you, when you bring this out to a certain dimension, whatever you like really, what's good for you and your material, keep the lock on, because everything proportionally grows. Now in this case what I want to do is I want an exact figure. Because what I want to do is I want to make sure that the tool comes and machines all the way down here. So that means there must be a minimum of 2 millimeters gap here. And I'll show you when I'm machining what that actually means. So the width needs to be, let me see, 35. We've got to 35. And you see the others jump with it. 14 millimeter in Z height, that's fine. So we're going to leave that, leave everything there now. Now this is an interesting one here too. Now, so you can toggle through these, okay, and it gives you different methods of placing this into the material, whether it's going to be a positive 3D model, which is what we want, which is that, which means place it onto the material. This is a negative, okay, see the little sign there, negative, that will carve it out and it will leave like a mold. And over the months I'll show you what each one of these actually represents. So we want positive, so we're going to place it into the material and carve it out as a positive image, and we paste it. And you think to yourself, oh, where's it gone? Okay, so what you got to do, you go up here and turn on the visual. Now that's still in two-dimensional, but it shows you the image in not exactly a grayscale. This is grayscale, but this is in like a gold scale then, so you can distinguish high and low points. The darker the image, the deeper the cut. The lighter the image, the obviously closer to the surface. So now to convert that to 3D, to find out, well, what's it actually look like, just press 3D view, and we'll get rid of that. Now to move that around, up here you'll see like a little world, alright, Twiddle View, what a lovely name. So we'll select the twiddle, and you can, so what I'm actually doing with the mouse is I'm coming over with the cursor, holding the left mouse down and just moving the mouse around. Now if you want to enlarge that, you go to the mouse wheel and turn it one way or the other. Now if you want to move that bodily, both mouse keys down together, and you can move it around on the screen wherever you want. And this is just left key. And zoom in, left key. So you can turn it over and see exactly, it's a fairly deep 3D. It's a fairly nice looking 3D. Okay, so now we come to the choosing tools and machining this. And we're actually I'm going to show you how to choose a little bit later, how to choose a new tool. So what we'll do is go into toolpaths. If you press on this, you'll get a flyout box down here. Now this, and you just come on here and scroll down. So that's how you save toolpaths to your device. This is two-dimensional cutting and V-bit carving, even down to making inlays. ArtCam has special programs in it to make inlays, positive and negative inlays. Drilling strategies, and there's all sorts in here. Even laser, and we'll be using this later on for the laser as well. But for normal type of 3D carving or of release is this one here, the very top one in this three-dimensional toolpath group. Double click that and we get this wizard. Now I do know that a lot of people sort of fill this wizard in and they do a finishing cut and the roughing cut all in one go. I, on the other hand, don't particularly like doing that. So what I do is I individually choose a roughing. So we're going to choose a tool. I do it in two separate, shall we say, filings then. Wood and plastic, rough-in, so we're going to go 6mm end mill. So we're going to select. So now we go back into it. So now we've selected the 6mm. Go back into it. Scroll down. Now this is the settings that ArtCam has in as standard. So we're going to manipulate this to cut this material for us with our 6040. We're going to, let me see, step over it quite comfortably. Look, I'm going to go to 2.6mm. Step down. We've got 3mm, which is fine. Feed rate 76mm per second, that's 3 inches per second. Plunge rate 50mm a second, that's 2 inches per second. I'm going to leave it as the standard because Mach 3 we can slow all this down, you know, with the percentage of feed in Mach 3. 15,000, I'm going to take that up to 16,000 RPM, and it's tool number 1. So if that's now all, the tool itself and the cutter is all set, but we can alter that in Mach 3 when it's running. We don't want to profile around afterwards. Both directions, yes. So that means it's going to come in the X, and I'm doing a raster strategy. There's all manner of different strategies that I could use, but I'm just using a raster. I'm going to use it in both directions. It's going to cut this way and that way on the return. That speeds it up a lot. Tolerance, that's fine. Don't have to bother with that. Don't have to bother with that. Zigzag automatic settings, yeah, okay. Actually, yeah, this is the preset settings. It's grayed out, and this is actually fine. It's only a rough and cut. Slice thickness, that's okay. Here we go. Lead in moves. Add ramp in moves. Now I've preset this on another job that I was doing, but ArtCam remembers my my settings that I preferred. Plunge height, we're going to go 10. So this was left over from the last job, so I'm going to go 10mm here, because no need to sort of hang over the material by nearly 15mm. That's all okay. No. Safe said. No, 10mm is fine. The home position is at 10mm, so the safe position can be 10mm as well. Okay, let's define the material. Right, so the material we got here is 19mm. Okay, so we put 19mm in here. And this is automatically altered then, and we can see here the lighter coloured. Now that's telling us what material, and actually this figure is telling us what material is going to be left after the three-dimensional, or the relief has been machined. So the relief is all going to be in this darker area up here. So it's really your check-in to see, okay, have I got enough material left there? I'm not going to go diving into the bed. Everything looks fine there. Press OK. And then this comes up, and you can check it visually that there's the material that's left, and there's the eagle head that is going to be left. Okay, so the last thing we need to do now is to name this toolpath. Now I abbreviate everything. It's so long as you know and can recognize what it is, it's fine. So we're going to say here, so it's just abbreviated. As long as you can understand what it is, that's fine. And calculate now. And that's done. So we can see here. Okay, so you can actually see that it's got, I think we can do, it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's going to do that in 5 cuts. That's going to take a fair bit of time, so I think that we can probably, we can reduce that, I think. So just to save a little time, so we go back up here and we put in here 3.5. Now that should reduce it significant. Now recalculate. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's going to do that in four separate cuts, which is more acceptable. Don't forget, this is a 6mm tool. I want to use a 6mm tool because I want to get rid of a lot of the material in and around here and up in here. If I'd use a 10 or a 12mm end mill, there would be a lot of material left around here that, you know, the the little 2mm would have to hog out, and I just want to do one cut with the 2mm. So you get out as much as you can. So you have to. It's necessary for us to use a smaller diameter tool for the roughing. So okay, so we'll get out of that one. So we go back in and choose again, and this time we're going to do the finishing option. Okay, so for the finishing option, what we're going to do is we're going to choose, well actually the tool that we're going to use is a 2mm tapered ball mill. Now I'll just get one of those. Okay. Now this is a 1mm R, so that's a 2mm diameter end of the tool. This is a tapered end mill. So it's 30.5mm in length of the cutter. It's 75mm overall, and 6mm diameter, and it's a 2 flute. So that's what these numbers mean. So it's a carbide end mill. They're not cheap. These end mills are very, very good. They're about between $70 and $75 each. So you don't want to break many of these. If you buy cheaper ones, you're going to break more of them, and they're not going to last very long. So I buy a fairly good brand. However, if you break one, it's more costlier. And again, they're about $75. So we are going to make a new tool in the tooling list. So at the moment, we're going to choose the 2.5mm. Choose that one. And we're going to say copy. So we have 2 of them there now. We're going to say edit. We want to edit that copy now. So it's a ball mill, but here we're going to write, we're going to put a capital T space. In other words, it's a tapered ball mill. And we alter that to a 0. So it's 2 millimeter. Diameter of the tool is 2 millimeter. Step down. This really doesn't matter because you can alter these figures in the wizard later on when you choose a tool. So I'm going to say this is okay. There's tool type. That's okay. We can leave that. It's okay. We've already recognized what it is there. The tool number doesn't matter unless you've got a tool changer. Units, millimeters per second. This is fine. So now we're going to OK that. And so there it appears in our tooling list, right there. So that's there now for forever. So we're going to select that one. So go back in here now, and there it is. It appears here because we selected it. Now we can alter it if we want to. 2.6. I don't want to alter it. This is already set up pretty well. Actually, the feed rate, it can go quite a bit further than that. So we're going to say 60. Now I'm putting 60 millimeters per second feed rate in here, but we can alter that in Mach 3. We can speed that up. If this was the 6012, that would be 80 or even 100 or even 150 millimeters per second, and the 6012 will cut it. This is a slightly smaller machine, and 60 to 80 would probably be maximum for it. 18,000 RPM, plunge rate 12 millimeters a second. Probably go to 15 for that. Actually, probably go to 20 for that. Oh, 15. 15 would be fine. Okay, so these are all the different strategies that we can actually machine this different ways. Raster, classic raster, raster in XY. In other words, the machine across like this. XY classic. Spiral. Now, so you start in the middle. If you see me do some of the coins that I've made, you'll see that I do a spiral, and it works very well for doing things like coins. Spiral in a box. It would start in the middle, come out like this, and then when it gets to here, it would lift up and drop back in, but it's some considerable time, and all the other different types of strategy, but just the standard raster is fine in this case. So pull down, pull down, pull down, pull down. That's all okay. So now all we have to do is give it a name. Now, calculate now. And this should turn all completely red. Now, while it's completely red like that, we can't see very much. So, and we've got the both tool paths there all mingled together. So, what I like to do is, if you come over here to the tool paths, expand it, and what we can do is turn the roughing tool path off. Now, what I can do is zoom into this, and you can see this is all individual runs. See, each individual line is a pass of the tool. So you can see it's very, very, should we say, dense. And if we turn it over a bit, you can see It's like a 3D contour of a map. If you can pick out the individual lines there. Perhaps that's a little better. So there's a lot going on in this picture. It's a mass of anyway, let's come out of that now. There we go. So you can see it's very busy in there. Okay, so we turn that one off and we're left with that. And I think for I suppose just to make sure that there's no problems, if we scroll all the way down here, we can simulate all toolpaths, which is what we'll do, and we'll take the standard, and here we go. So this is exactly what you will get. Okay, I don't particularly like it in silver. It doesn't really show. I prefer it sort of gold. Now I'll show you how to change the material that we're going. You can't actually do it here. So what you've got to do, you've got to come up here, press on simulation, which brings up then the simulation dialog, and scroll down, simulate default, press that. Now this gives you all the different defaults that you can view this item in. Now if you wanted wood, we'll say beech, and we'll say apply, and it is in beech wood. So there's many different, actually that's quite nice, isn't it? I quite like that. That's quite nice. And if you wanted to, you could change it to 18 karat gold if you wished. Apply, which is a bit too shiny for my liking. 9 karat gold, still a bit shiny. Polished gold, real shiny. There's ever so many different types of material that you can save it in, even down to pewter or even polished brass. It's polished brass. Now this is my preferred, what I like to view things in. This is rich gold. Now the light makes it look a little bit overexposed, so I'll show you how to alter the lighting within ArtCam. So you just come up here to the light. It says light and materials. Now you can come down here, alter the brightness, tone it down a bit, shininess, tone it down, oh, about 100 I think that. 99 is fine. There you go. So now that is set into ArtCam because you've applied it. I think that works for me, but you can alter things to suit yourself. Very nice, good looking eagle. The last job now to do is to save it to your flash drive. And you just, like you just saw, I just drew this up to the top, and here it is here, save toolpaths, and this will come up, and I notice in my J drive that I want to save it, and we, first of all, I've got the two over here on this side, so what I want to do is take that one and send it over here, because I don't want to save them together. I want to save them separately. And actually I should have done it the other way around, shouldn't I? That's talking, because this one's already set up. Just check that it's a finishing cut. It's a 2.2 millimeter tapered ball mill, which is the one we want, and we've got the information here, and it's going into the J drive. Now here's something very important. A lot of people are getting tricked up on this, and I get a lot of emails saying, oh, machine won't work, or it's doing something peculiar. It's because you are saving it in some other format. So you have to choose the format, standard G-code. Now, if you've got it set up in inches, you can save it in inches, but I use metric, so it's standard G-code tap, G-code millimeters tap. That is what you save it in, and you save. And there we go. So then you highlight that one, send it over here, get this one, send it over there. I just, as a rule, save them separately. So this is cut 1. Cut 1, and it's a rough in, so I just abbreviate everything, and it's 6 millimeter end. Where are we? End mill. Save. And it's done. That's it. Now, to save this project, in ArtCam files, you just go up here to File. Let's move my little friend's hand out the way. Save as. So I hope you've liked this video today. If you have, please press like, subscribe to my channel, and well, if you want to see this being cut, that'll be the next film. So and indeed, my channel now has between two of my channels, it's got 600 videos now, between CNC routing, ArtCam, milling, wood turning, and I have another channel devoted to lasers. So thank you for joining me, and I'll see you again next time. So it's bye for now.